What's going on, you guys? Welcome to today's video. Today I'm going to be breaking down a trade setup that netted me a return of 200%. It was LAZR, $7.5 calls. We ended up taking this trade today on March 21st. It is Friday, so it was quad witching today, and it was a 0 DTE trade. I want to show you guys exactly what led me to taking this trade, what system I used to take the trade, and exactly how I went about taking profits, etc., stop losses, all of the good stuff. Now, judging based off the 5-minute time frame, right, we see a lot of resistance at a certain level, right? Resistance is basically when a stock goes up to a certain price and it rejects, it creates this what's so-called roof. As you guys see, LAZR had a nice resistance at this level of 737, which I'm going to show you guys right now and plot it out, which was what I was actually watching this stock to break. Basically, guys, what I like to look for is breakouts. I love trading breakouts, especially in a market like this one. The markets are very, very bearish right now, and you need to find a lot of strength in order to long something, right? So again, I look for breakouts. This week we went crazy. We had a 140% trade on DJT, 120% trade on Twillo. We had a 200% trade on LAZR, and many, many other bangers, guys. We've absolutely went insane. Besides the point, what I like to look for when I'm basically entering for a breakout is a break and hold of this resistance. Now, what I mean by that, guys, is I like looking on it anywhere between a 5-minute to 15-minute time frame, right? I want to see this stock break above a certain key level that I have. In this case was 730, 735, whatever you want to call it. And it did end up breaking. So now if we go down to the lower time frame, which is like the 2-minute, something I love to use also. Some people like to use the 1 minute. I'm not going to knock you for it. However, if you are going to be using the 1 minute, you also have to note that it is crucial. It is crucial that you take profits when you see a red bearish candle under the 90 MA. And I'll explain that right now. But basically, guys, as you guys see on the smaller time frame, LAZR reported earnings today. LAZR reported earnings today. It wasn't on my watch list. I saw this on the morning. I saw that they had a solid level at 735, reported earnings, so I had a catalyst going to it, right? As you guys see down here, the earnings were actually a beat. They had a 5 million surprise beat on their earnings. They reported 22.5 million out of an estimated 17.7. So they beat their earnings estimate by $5 million, which is something that I looked at as bullish. So as I saw this stock on a 5-minute time frame breaking towards that, $730, $725 level, I decided to start looking at it, right? So if we go into this smaller time frame, anywhere between, I don't know, the 5-minute, if you guys want to use, or the 1 minute on this stock. I don't like to use the 1 minute, though you can use it. You guys will see that I entered this stock at exactly 936. Now, there's a reason I entered at 936, guys. I want to show you guys exactly why. If you guys go into the smaller time frames at 936, you guys will notice that we actually closed above that level of $7.30. So when I saw that on the 1 minute time frame and the 5-minute time frame, I saw and basically said, okay, this is doing exactly what I want it to do. So when you look at the 5-minute time frame, right, and you go based off of a level break, psychological level, or anything of that nature, right, which in this case was that $7.30 level break, we took the trade right at 936, which was right above that break, right? So now that I'm in this trade, I'm basically, where do I take profit? What's my stop loss, etc.? Perfect. I'm going to show you guys. Judging off the 1 minute time frame, a lot of you guys like to use that. And I'm not saying it's wrong, but if you're scalping, it's fine. If you got in on the 1 minute time frame at 936, the EMA is basically what I like to use as a guide for my trade, right? If we stay above the 90 EMA, we continue to be bullish. There is no reason for me to sell, right? With that being said, this stock, as soon as we got in, we were above the EMA. We actually ended up pulling back to the EMA just before we got a crazy move on the stock. I kid you not. Guys, the stock moved 11%. It doesn't look that crazy because it's only 3 candles, but this stock moved 11% in 3 to 4 candles at around like what? What time was that? 46. So literally 10 minutes after we got in this trade, we were already up 200%. Now, a lot of people don't know. They're like, oh, I'm up 100%, 200%. It's going to keep going. Do I sell? Me personally, I told everyone in the Discord that I was looking for key level resistances. So now that we've gotten in at this price, right, of our 730, right, what's our next resistance, right? And that basically comes down to psychological levels. Another thing that is super, super huge in the stock market I told everyone, look, if this stock breaks above that level of 730, our next targets are going to be $7, $5, and then $8, which is exactly what it ended up hitting, guys. If you guys look at the stock, it literally touched $8, and then it hit that resistance, right? That ceiling, so to say, and came down. So again, perfectly executed on this trade. If you guys got in when I said it, right, at 936, we got these contracts at around $20, guys. We got into these $7.5 calls at around 936 at $20. In literally 10 minutes, guys, and there was zero drawdown. I was not down a single bit. I mean, these contracts are going from 25 back to 22, back to 20. So I was up anywhere between 30% to zero break even. In literally 10 minutes, guys, these contracts went from $20 to $60 on this move on the stock. Again, how did it do that, guys? Simple. We got in on the break of that resistance, right? And we targeted new highs of 7.5 and then $8, guys. So with that being said, where do you know when to take profits, guys? It is simply looking at your levels and seeing, okay, is the stock breaking above or is it rejecting, right? If you guys see here, right, on the 1 minute time frame, we broke above $7.50 with a very bullish candle. Therefore, I said, okay, I'm going to decide to hold this a little bit longer till I see a little bit of a rejection under that $7.50 or maybe even $8, right? Which is exactly what happened. I didn't expect it to happen in the first 3 minutes, first 4 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever it was. But yeah, went crazy. We saw $8, and the second I seen it hit $8 and reject down is when I said, okay, I'm taking profit. When a stock goes into resistance, for example, this stock was $8, and it doesn't break above the key level, that is not something that you want to continue to hold, right? Basically, we broke above 7.5. We broke above 7.30, 7.5. But when we came up to $8, we touched it and rejected a little bit. What does that tell you? It tells me that the stock is starting to lose a little bit of its strength, which is exactly why I told everyone I sold all of my contracts at the tippity top, guys. $58, we sold every single contract for 190% returns. That right there is an A-plus trade setup, guys. I reacted off of my setup on this trade because we broke above 730, right? Took that trade long. Now, my stop loss on this trade was basically going to be $7, right? I'm not giving up that much. I'm only giving up that $7 on the stock. Again, goes back to what am I using, guys? Psychological levels. My risk to reward on this trade actually was a 2-to-1, chat. So if y'all looking at the stock right now, right? Our risk to reward, well, let me just pull it up for you guys. Our risk to reward on this position was a boom. Well, boom. Well, then let me do it. Our risk to reward on this position was actually, listen up, our risk to reward on this position was actually a 3-to-1 risk reward. So I was basically risking 1 to make $3, if that makes any sense, guys. Again, it's Friday. It was quad witching. A lot of contracts are expiring today. I believe it's over 4.5 trillion, if not 4.5 billion. 4.5 billion, I think, dollars expired today. Or 450 million, something like that. Some crazy number some crazy number amount of contracts expire today, guys. So with that being said, the reason we took this trade is because it broke above our key level of $7.30. We held above it, and then I took it long, guys, at 18 to 20 cents a contract. These contracts went all the way to 58. That is a 200% return in 10 minutes. Let's continue to crush it. Love you guys so much. Have a blessed day. It's your boy Options Buffett. I hope to see you guys in the free live trading Monday through Friday at 9:25 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Peace.